plan to demolish the Yorktown Apartments to build a parking lot. Collegiate was founded by Louisville's elite speed family, who owns the Farmington Plantation. Their current board president is Augusta Brown Holland, heiress of the Brown Forman whiskey dynasty and the richest family in the state. Collegiate is one of the most expensive schools in the state, with the annual tuition around $25,000. Meanwhile, the average rent at Yorktown is around $845. Louisville needs over 30,000 units of housing at the lowest income levels to meet current demand. The rent is too damn high, and there is no place for Yorktown tenants to go when the rent is everywhere. Where the rent is everywhere near what they're paying, anywhere near what they're paying. Collegiate had to clear the demolition through the Cherokee Triangle Review Committee. However, the committee tabled the application in November after we engaged with residents and showed powerfully at the meeting. We did that. Louisville power holders talk a lot about sustainable development. We hear a lot about bikeways and walkability and how important they are in our communities. In 2015, Augusta Brown Holland made a $60,000 donation to the city of Louisville to help produce an urban heat island effect. Augusta's mother, Christy Brown, made a $10 million donation to the University of Louisville to study the effects of poor air quality on our health. But when it came time to demolish 35 units of affordable housing to build a parking lot, suddenly the urban heat island doesn't matter to the Brown Holland. Sustainability only matters in Louisville when wealthy developers can profit from it. This is not just a housing issue, this is a public health issue. People everywhere deserve to live in homes where they can walk to meet their basic needs. People everywhere deserve to live in homes that don't make them sick. Everyone deserves a home that is safe. Today, our landlords have all the power and we have none. And that ain't right.
That ain't right.
Today, landlords can treat us however they want, keep us living in terrible living conditions, demolish our homes to build parking lots if they want, and try to evict us if we speak up. And that ain't right.
That ain't right.
Today, too many of us are choosing between medications and the rent, or food and the rent. And that ain't right.
That ain't right.
Today, our landlords are nameless, faceless corporations like Collegiate and All Trade who refuse to look us in the eye, who don't pick up when we call, only to come around to collect rent. And that ain't right.
That ain't right.
But tomorrow that is all going to be different, and that's because we're organizing. Today you're going to hear from Yorktown residents Evan Bradley and Pat McCarthy, who came with stories, but we also came with demands. First and foremost, we want a meeting with Collegiate to discuss these demands. For years, Collegiate let conditions in the Yorktown Apartments get worse and worse, knowing all along that they were going to demolish these homes to build a parking lot. They allowed these tenants to sign new leases in the summer, knowing full well what they were going to do. We know that Collegiate doesn't want to face us. We know that people who run Collegiate are the descendants of wealthy plantation owners who are used to getting what they want and pushing people like us out of the way. Collegiate was scheduled to go before the Cherokee Triangle Review Committee today at 4:30, but they canceled as soon as they found out that we were holding this press conference and were showing up at this hearing. But they can install all they want. We will just keep showing up, and you will have to face us because we will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
First up, let me introduce Mr. Pat McCarthy.
a resident here since May of 21. The main reason I moved here was because of the location, the availability to walk anywhere to the grocery store, to the local convenience store, Speedway. And the other reason I moved here was because my mom lives a couple miles away. She's in her mid-80s. I helped take care of her. I moved here from Valley Station. I had a good job in Valley Station, half a mile away from where I live. But I chose to move here because it's more convenient to be around the mom. She's had many surgeries over the past 15 years, including breast cancer, a couple of aneurysm surgeries, a couple of strokes. And it's just more convenient for me to be here with her. About 6 months ago, the motor went out on my truck, so I've been transportationless for that long. And the convenience of walking up the value market to get food and walk back is it's not even describable how important that is. It's a struggle having to go to the grocery store and carry stuff home. I've used Target a couple of times, and that's a nightmare. I used Uber. That's expensive. In January and February, I noticed that the maintenance was going downhill in all of these apartments. No more make-readies were being done. They weren't leasing anymore. And since I've been here, as far as the general upkeep, there hasn't been anyone to clean the hallways for the past 4 or 5 months since we got the notice in October that we were being forced out. So they just quit taking care of the place. I used the laundromat about a month ago, and fortunately I was sitting down there doing my laundry, because when the dryer stopped running, I walked over and opened the door. The heating element was still on. I had to unplug the dryer to keep it from catching the building on fire. After I got the demolition notice in October, I went online, I looked up, and I found out that Collegiate has owned this property since 2015. When they bought the property, they knew exactly what they were going to do. But we didn't find out until October of last year. They're pushing people out. We can't get anything fixed. They've stopped making the apartments ready, like I said. If you go down in the laundry room, it's a wreck. The washer and dryers are turned over on their sides. All the storage units are broken into. Nobody maintains it. They let me renew my lease in June of 2022. I had a friend that wanted to move in here, and I called for him, and they said they were no longer leasing apartments. I knew something was going on when I heard that. I know the property owner and the property management are responsible for the security of the buildings. When I moved in here, I was told that the key to the laundry room was also a key to the doors to each one of these buildings. There's not a lock on any one of these buildings. Never has been. I'm retired, I'm on a fixed income. If I want to stay around here, I can't find anything less than $1,100 to $1,200 a month, which is unacceptable for my income. I'm very discouraged that it looks like I won't be able to stick around here in this neighborhood and get something I can afford. It's going to change the distance between me, my mom, my family, trying to find a location that's close to the store, to a grocery store. My primary care physician is in the Mid-City Mall. My spine center doctor is on Gray Street, which I can walk to every one of those. It's very inconvenient, it's very stressful. I've been on anxiety medication for about 3 years, and the level that this is pushing me to has made me double my doctor visits monthly instead of once a month. And I finally did get a vehicle, so I do have transportation now. I just had spinal fusion surgery 8 weeks ago, so it's just, I'm not even able to lift the things in my apartment to move if I have to move. So somebody's gonna have to do that for me. Who's gonna pay for that? Collegiate let me renew my lease, knowing full well they plan on demolishing the buildings and kick all of us out. This is unfair. That is why we're asking Collegiate to help residents find another place to live within a 2-mile radius of Yorktown and cover the moving costs of all residents. All we're asking them for is to sit down with them and have a meeting with us. They owe us that much. Thank you. And Chris,
Thank you, Pat. Up next, we have a statement read from Mr. Jeffrey Butler.
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm leader with the Louisville Tenants Union. Jeremy was nervous about being on camera, so I'm going to go ahead and read his statement for him. It says, "Hi, my name is Jeffrey Butler. I moved to Kentucky to start a new life, and so far it's been pretty good. When I got here last year, I went to St. John's Church for Homeless Men, and I met Greg and Tom, and that helped me get Section 8 and to get this apartment. But no one told us that the school bought Yorktown Apartments and wanted to make a parking lot. I can't pay anyone to help me move because I don't have any money, and it's hard for me to survive here because of the fact that I don't have any money. So I don't have anyone to help me move, and I can't pay to have anyone help me move. And I can barely afford to live here. I have nerve damage in my right leg and my right hand, so I have to use a cane to walk around. I just wish that I could find someone to help me. I think the school should give someone in Yorktown Apartments money to move us and to help find somewhere for us to go. Greg Capillo and Tom from St. John Church for the Homeless Men had to help me get back to Ohio because my mother got really hurt, and I thought that she might pass away."
All right. Thank you, Mr. Butler. Up next, we have Mr. Evan Bradley.
I grew up until 3rd grade here in Louisville. My parents moved me out to Meade County. I stayed there until I was about 21 or 22. And I moved up here to Louisville to be somewhere where I could walk. There wasn't any money for me growing up to have a car or learn how to drive. As an adult, I had to get to work. It's very hard to get your foot in the door with driving. You have to work and hold down a job. In Meade County, it's very hard to hold down a job if you don't have a car. Moving to the Highlands was very important for my stability. Not having to count on other people to get to work. Being in the Highlands put that into my own hands. Instead of having to count on other people, I went through 3 other jobs. Not because I couldn't, but because I couldn't count on others to show up every day. And there was no public transportation out there like we have here. My father had already moved up here. He really recommended this neighborhood. He helped me find a place in Richmond. It's a good, walkable neighborhood with a lot of businesses and job opportunities. And at the time, it would be a really easy neighborhood for me to move into as a single guy living on his own. I stayed there on Edgeland for about 4 years, working restaurant jobs in the neighborhood. Then my apartment was bought out in January of 22, and they told us we had to be out by the end of February. That's how I ended up here at Yorktown. I signed an 18-month lease here. Because they shut the last place down so suddenly, that was a very good deal for me. It was stable. I felt good. I felt stable here, knowing that it wouldn't go away. They announced that they would be tearing down the building less than halfway through that 18-month lease. That's what they do. They kept up with pest control for the first 2 months I was here, and I never saw them again all summer. They've really abandoned this place. The state and the condition of this place are exactly what Collegiate have allowed them to become by abandoning their maintenance. They've padded the leases out to get more income and to extract as much value from this place as they could before they shut the place down. Most of my coworkers live outside of this neighborhood. My buddy Jeffrey lives downtown and has really quite the bus. It's pretty hit or miss, or if it'll actually get him to work on time or getting home when he needs to be. I like the job. It pays $15 an hour. They're very good about if you need a day off, and they're understanding. The hours are steady. Most of all, it's safe. Before I worked here and lived here, I mostly worked factories and warehouses, a lot of temp jobs. The longest temp job I ever had was on an industrial electrical machine. There were fires on the line. Splashes from the acid bath, electrical hazards, welders welding without an arc shield. My brother worked there as a maintenance technician. And he told me that there's a rate of mortality that they just accept. Restaurant work is safe work. I don't have to worry about ruining my back doing it. The other reason I chose restaurant work was that I was taking college classes. I would regularly work 56 hours a week at the factory. Now, I wouldn't have time for anything else. I'm not doing this because I can't do anything else. I'm doing it because it's the best move for me. Leaving the Highlands would make it harder to get to work reliably. It's my understanding that other parts of the city don't have nearly the kind of access to good jobs in grocery stores that we have here. We're not a food desert here, and we have one of the better setups for actually getting onto the public transportation, getting to the different routes. It would definitely be stressful to not know I would be safe if business slowed down or if my job doesn't work out. I was laid off at the start of COVID. And when you don't have hours and you're fighting the unemployment system, you're really not sure if you're actually going to get your unemployment or if you'll be back to work before you can even see a dime. Having so many businesses and places to work, it's a safety. It really is. This is why we're demanding that Collegiate help residents find another apartment within 2 miles of Yorktown. We know they're partnering with LDG Development to order apartments all over the city. In my time living here, Collegiate has been a horrible neighbor and an even worse landlord. I think it's ridiculous for Collegiate to propose that removing us would be in the interest of the Cherokee Triangle neighborhood, because we are the neighborhood. We hear all this talk about creating walkable communities, sustainable urban development, and reducing the urban heat effect. Now, I'm sure many of the same people who promote themselves as urbanists and favor good development send their kids to Collegiate and sit on the board of Collegiate because they forget all of that good talk when it's time to tear down our homes for their parking lot. I've noticed in some of the latest coverage that Collegiate is saying we don't have a set move-out date. I have a signed letter from December saying that the move-out date is in 2 months, on March 31st. They've emailed and they've called asking me how the search is going, but in all that time, none of them has mentioned a change or that there is no set move-out date. Collegiate owes us an explanation, and that's why we're demanding a sit-down meeting with Collegiate and that they stop any plans for demolition until the complex is totally vacant, with no hard deadline for the tenants to move out or face eviction. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Next up, we have Davin Richardson, who would like to share his statement as well.
Alright, I'm Davin Richardson. I just want to say that I've been living over here since I graduated high school, since I was 19. I'm 24 now, I'm ready to be 25. And, I moved over here because I used to live in the hood, and then I moved to the, I used to live in Norfolk, and I moved over here to just get away from all that, and it was affordable housing. And then, so I've just been going to school, working my job, just doing what I gotta do. And then they just told us we gonna move unexpectedly, you know. So it's gonna have me in a position where I don't know where I'm gonna have to, you know, move downtown or move to where I came from or whatever. So I'm trying to just stay over here in the Highlands in a nice neighborhood, you know, so I don't have to just be nowhere where I don't want to be. Cause I got friends that are over here. My cousin lives on Eastern Parkway. I be going to the park, walking the neighborhood, playing basketball at Cherokee, going through the hills and stuff. Like we all do that all the time, like every day in the summer almost. Like anytime we get free time, going to the Douglas Community Center, play basketball inside of her. You know, I go to the bars sometimes. So like this is just gonna be a major change if we just gotta move somewhere like outside of the Highlands. So I just hope that they can just get us somewhere in our area with the unexpected change. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. We are very grateful to have former State Representative Attica Scott here today. Would you like to share some words?
Yes, thank you so much, Jasmine. We're here because Collegiate needs to keep its neighbors housed. The educated should know better. The people who are educated should know better.
That's right.
What we are talking about is human rights, because housing is a human right. When I think about what's happening here with Yorktown residents, I think about a song that says, "You paid paradise to put up a parking lot." This isn't about Joni Mitchell. This is about justice. And I want folks from Yorktown Apartments to know that you have folks here who are small business owners who are working right now to rebuild their own businesses, but they're standing here with you.
That's right.
You have people who are fighting the opioid crisis. And while we're talking, somebody's dying from an overdose, but they are here standing with you. So I want you to know that you are not alone, that you have folks who are going to continue to fight for and with you to make sure that you can stay housed. While it might seem like an extension of an olive branch for a Collegiate to move you somewhere else, the rent is too damn high everywhere.
That's right.
So keep people housed in affordable and safe and quality housing. And Collegiate, meet with the residents. That's the least that you can do, is respect and value people's humanity. Meet with the residents. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Also, we have Ms. Shamika Parrish-Wright, who has come out to support the tenants. She is going to say a few words as well.
Thank you, Jasmine. I stand here in solidarity with the residents of Yorktown as well as Louisville Tenant Union. It takes a lot of courage to share the stories I've heard, and those stories hit home. If you've ever been displaced, if you ever been forced to move, you know what it feels like. I have a personal story. When I moved here in my 20s, I wanted to live in the Highlands, but there was no place that I could afford or no place large enough for my family. So I chose the West End. I saw the appeal to the Highlands because I came from Cincinnati, and there was a Highlands neighborhood that was just as full of diversity, small business owners, access to basketball courts and parks. Walkable communities is what we all deserve. We know that we have a transportation issue here in Louisville. But walking up here this morning, as I walked to join you all here, there were residents in their window nodding me, thanking me for being here. And I'm here for them, the voiceless, those who don't want to be retaliated against. I'm here to lend hand and voice and make sure that Vocal Kentucky, they know that Vocal Kentucky is here, and we'll continue to stand here with every resident. As Representative Scott has just said, Collegiate, the least you could do is meet with the residents. The least you can do is help with relocation. The demand is within 2 miles. That is doable. If you are an institution of learning, the best thing you could do for your students is show them that you are responsible to everyone in this community. This is their community too. They belong to the Highlands. They're here. They're asking you to meet with them. They have demands that are very, very reasonable. You can move them and get them relocated. I look around and I'm looking at the paint chipping off the walls. I see the hole in the door. I hear the horrible stories about what happened in the laundry room. And no one should have to live like that, especially people who are paying rent. I've been on Section 8 and it is very hard to find housing in a short time. They have until March 31st. That's not enough time without the assistance that they deserve. So we're here to demand that Collegiate meet with them. I don't have anything against the rich families, but you haven't been forced to move. You haven't been put out, and so you don't know what it's like. That's why you come here and you listen to these residents and you do what they are demanding you to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shamika. Today we are filled with purpose. We are here today with our new comrades from Yorktown Apartments to demand justice and fair treatment from Louisville Collegiate School. We're demanding the following. 1, Collegiate help residents find another apartment within 2 miles of Yorktown. 2, Collegiate cover moving costs of all residents. 3, Collegiate stop any plans for demolition until the complex is totally vacant, i.e. no hard deadline for tenants to move or face eviction. 4, Collegiate cover the increase in rent for residents for a year after they move. We know that Collegiate has met with local nonprofit service providers and our elected officials to cut deals behind our backs. That ain't right.
That's right. That ain't right.
Hoping that these tenants will go away if they shove some money at them. We know that they have talked to the neighborhood association and various other community activist groups, but none of them have engaged with the tenants who have actually lived in the Yorktown. The wealthy elite who run the Collegiate have a choice to make. We will sit down with the residents to discuss their demands, or they will continue to treat us like a problem that would just go away if they wait long enough. We got news for you. Right. We will not go away.
That's right.
Today, we are here to demand a meeting with Collegiate, and we're here to promise that next time we come back, we're coming back with hundreds of our neighbors from around the city.
That's right.
We're here now, and we will be back until we win.
That's right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
We will not give up the fight.
Housing is a human right.
Thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Woo! Thank you.
Collegiate, we're here to fight. Housing is a human right. Collegiate, we're here to fight. Housing is a human right. Collegiate, we're here to fight. Housing is a human right. Collegiate, we're here to fight. Housing is a human right. We need housing in this spot, not a rich kid parking lot. We need housing in this spot, not a rich kid parking lot. We need housing in this spot, not a rich kid parking lot. We need housing in this spot, not a rich kid parking lot. We need housing in this spot, not a rich kid parking lot. We need housing in this spot, not a rich kid parking lot. What do we want? Affordable housing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Affordable housing. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Affordable housing. When do we want it? Now. What do we
right, y'all. Jared Wright here, reporting in Right Heart Media. We are at the Yorktown Apartments. Yorktown Apartments are just off of Grinstead, right by Cherokee Triangle. It is actually right next to Collegiate School, which is behind that fence, directly behind me. So it is right next to it. Previously, Collegiate announced plans to demolish this low-income housing apartment complex to build a parking lot. So they're going to displace a number of Louisville citizens to create a parking lot for their faculty and parents, students, things. There's a couple of really good points that were just brought up. One by Attica. The whole time I've been thinking about paying Paradise to put up a parking lot. While this apartment complex has been deteriorating over the years due to lack of upkeep from Collegiate, who also owns it, and while it may not be a paradise, it is people's home. So you're just going to pay Paradise to put up a parking lot. You're going to take down people's homes so that you can park your cars. Another very good one was Shamika. Brought up the fact that these people are supposed to be educators. So wouldn't this be a great time to step aside, to take a moment to teach your students about compassion and caring about fellow humans? I don't know. It's not my decision to make. But Collegiate has decided to kick people out after signing leases with them. Not even 12-month lease, 18-month lease. LMPD! LMPD! Just saw LMPD drive by, but yeah, it's atrocious. There's not anything near this area that is as low of rent as this apartment complex. So by tearing it down, you're really just going to displace a bunch of people that are already underprivileged, underpaid, and struggling a little bit. So I just wanted to go ahead and jump in here and explain a little bit of what was going on with you. So they went in front of the Architecture Review Committee for Cherokee Triangle back in November. The decision to demolish was tabled after a number of tenants, as well as members of the tenant union, as well as other neighborhood members came in to oppose the decision to demolish. So it's a split decision. There's definitely a number of people in the neighborhood that want it demolished. There's also a large number of individuals that don't want it demolished. So this has been ongoing. We've been trying to cover it as much as possible, and we're going to keep trying to cover it as much as possible. We're going to stay in communication with the Louisville Tenant Union. We've reached out to Collegiate for comment a couple times. They've refused to comment. We're also doing some digging to try to find out how many addresses, properties that Collegiate has filed for demolition in the 100 years that they've existed, because they've existed for close to 100 years at this point, and have been kind of a staple in Louisville, and they've always had money. So I can only imagine the number of buildings, in particular single-family residents, that they may have demolished over those years to contribute to their school and education. So again, we're just going to try to cover as much of this as possible and get some more details out to you soon. They have a press release prepared that I have typed up. I'm going to be posting that article with this presser very soon, so go to rightheart.com and check it out. We're going to go ahead and sign off for now, so thanks for tuning in. Everybody stay strong and stay safe.